A friend of mine sent me your script, The Comforter, that I sent out about a week and a half ago. And this article to me, he sent it to me when I was so stressed and filled with fear. I sit here reading it again with tears streaming down my cheeks, thinking, would I ever be able to embrace my comforter? Why am I so gripped with thoughts of gaining acceptance, not looking bad, getting a bad review, authority over me, etc., all this, translating to that knot in my stomach called fear and nervousness? Will I ever get there? Will my guru come to me to help me? Will I become one with it? I seek but don't know what. I want but don't know how. I yearn but don't know it. I cry not knowing why. Is it possible? Of course, it's a cry for help, which is very, very common. But there's always the idea that the comforter, that which is divine, is something outside of you, something that you're going to gain. And that is one of the blocks that keeps repeating over and over again. And one thing we awaken is that you is the now itself, is the divine itself. It is this moment. In fact, if we begin to understand this, we begin to see that all questions are answered. And I also wrote down just the basic 5 emails that I received, just their basic language, to show you that they can be answered very clearly and simply by understanding this simple thing. Now, what happens, because we have a human form and we live in duality, we create the past as you. So the moment you hear the word you, immediately you think of the past. The moment you think of yourself as the past, fear arises. But here's the thing about fear. Why is fear created? Here is the paradox. If you can understand this, wow, what an incredible bomb that would be. Fear is created to protect you from insecurity, that we discussed last week. And what else did we talk about? Safety, right? So fear is there to protect you against those two, insecurity and safety, and lack of safety. But what creates insecurity and lack of safety? Fear itself. You see the paradox? Fear creates, it's just like the same thing with ego, because what ego is really fear. Ego wants to get rid of ego, wants to control ego. You see? And so this is the vicious circle. But once we begin to see this contradiction, once we begin to see clearly how we are creating an absurd situation, that very clarity will make the ego drop. Now here are some questions, and we can all go in them too. Someone asked, my ego keeps surfacing and feel constantly insecure about my life, my partner and myself. Will this ever stop or reach an end? The ego will never die, because the ego doesn't exist. The ego will simply surrender when it realizes the absurdity of its own creation. Okay? The moment we begin to see the very absurdity and contradiction of it, that very seeing, and this is what we have to do. It takes courage to see that, because we like to indulge in the ego, because it's a protection. You see? The moment we feel lack of safety, we feel insecure, immediately we try to protect this idea of who we think we are, which is made up of the past. Your upbringing, your ideas, your training, who you think you are, your image, your identity. But who you are is this moment. In fact, if we are to ask ourselves, can I be other than this moment? The only time you live and breathe, take a breath, and it's always this moment. Always. Where your heart beating, it's always this moment. You can say it, beat it. An hour ago, but the point is, no, it's now. It's always now. Everything is happening now. You're being aware only now. You cannot be aware yesterday or tomorrow. Now is the reality. Now is the eternal nature of is. The I am. You see? But we create two. And it is this two that creates all this pain. All these questions, they all come because you think you are two. You're not just now, but how am I going to achieve now? How am I going to attain now? Which is absurd, isn't it? Can you ever be there now? But this is what we're saying. Like, people, I want to awaken. Well, wake up and smell the coffee type of thing. Because it's now. See, but we think, oh, I want to wake up soon, next week. Maybe I'll wake up whenever I read something powerful, when grace comes. You see, that's another thing. Yes, it's true, it's grace that awakens you. But what is grace? Now. You're in grace the moment you are totally empty. You see? You're totally now. So to repeat this question to this guy, when, my ego keeps surfacing, when will it die? When will it go away? Never. It can never go away. It can never die. You can only see the absurdity of it. And when you do, it surrenders. Another question. I keep praying to wake up and realize the truth. But all I have is hope. Now, we make a lot about hope. Okay, but let me say this. Okay? As long as you think life in the future is going to be better, you are blocking the very awakening. Because awakening can only happen now, seeing it, this moment, the silence, that which you are, that which is listening now is it. Your very listening, your very being is what I'm talking about. Because it is not the ego. That very listening is the totality, is the oneness. It is all that there is. Just feel out your own awareness right now. Just feel it. You're aware. Where does it begin? You can say, well, it begins from this. Yes, you can say that, from this vantage point, from this field of experience, yes. That is the miracle, you see. Each one of us experiencing the same awareness from our own seeming vantage point. This is the grace, this is the beauty that we've been given, the miracle, you see. And so, but where does it begin, really? It's always there. Where does it end? Never. Where is its edge? There's no edge. Where is the boundary line? So it is a total thing. It is complete. And because it is complete, when you say you, there isn't anyone that you point to which is not you. And then we begin to understand what love is. We begin to understand what connection is, what belonging is. You see? And then all the qualities that we crave, peace, happiness, joy, fulfillment, all are expressions of this knowing that all there is you. And you can never die because it was never born. That's another mind blower, you see? And you is the comforter. Now this email from this man was saying, when I want to meet my guru. Yeah, gurus do take on a physical form, yeah. There are many, because when they embody the I am, the awakened, the totally enlightened being, just like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, is, because I cannot say he was, he's a being that never ends. So when I can say that, he achieved that ultimate state of being. There was no ego in the man. So even closeness to him, or his nearness, brought healing. You see? That was his power.